distance, 13,600 kilometers. In October, 33 cars will make their way from Europe to Asia. With the current E-Class, Mercedes had in recent years experienced unimagined setbacks with electronics and brake pad problems, provoking the largest recall in the company's history. The marathon drive to Peking must prove that everything is once again in order. The trip requires 5 shift changes involving 360 drivers from 35 different nations. Among them was 30-year-old Kristin von Trotta. This personnel manager from Bonn was lucky, as she snapped up one of the few places that were offered online. In order to have the chance of taking part, Kristin had to apply via the internet, and she was then invited to a qualifying session at a test track near Stuttgart. This involved exercises like full brake application or swerving to avoid obstacles, skills needed here when suddenly a truck is blocking the road ahead. In 1907, the Paris newspaper Le Matin organized the first long-haul car trip in automotive history. The race ran in the opposite direction to the current race, starting in Peking and ending in Paris. This first race was intended to demonstrate the superiority of the car over the horse. Only 11 people and 5 cars entered, with motors from between 6 to 40 horsepower. Prince Scipione Borghese, driving a 40-horsepower Itala, took 62 days to reach the finish line, where he was welcomed by tumultuous cheers. The starting point 99 years later is Paris. The E-Class now has 9 countries and nearly 14,000 kilometers ahead of it. The route is divided into 5 sections, for which the teams of 2 are relieved. Nobody drives the entire route themselves. Mercedes-Benz intends to use this race to test the performance of diesel engines in terms of emissions, economy, and reliability. As the domestic fuel available along the route has high sulfur concentration, which would damage the engines, a mobile fuel supply station provides energy. The 18 participating four-wheel drive models have 224 horsepower, high revs and torque in excess of 500 Newton-meters, top speed 244 kilometers an hour. The average consumption is estimated at 8 liters. Cheap. But the four-wheel drive Mercedes doesn't come cheap at a base price of just under 50,000 euros. The pauses are worth it. There's a visit to the Shireen Canyon, a 300-meter deep gorge not unlike the Grand Canyon. A little further eastward, the picturesque Lake Issyk-Kul, the second largest mountain lake on Earth. The finale of the experience is the Chinese Wall, shortly after the final destination in Beijing. Unforgettable impressions remain. For me, the highlight was yesterday, the drive here to the lake. It was simply the most awesome panorama I have ever seen, and made up for all the lack of sleep and other things we had to go through. The third section of the journey leads Kristin von Trotta through Kazakhstan. It is 2,500 kilometers from Yekaterinburg to Alma-Ata. As she loves to drive, the young mother has managed nearly the entire route by herself. Typical of Kazakhstan are the endless plain and, near the city, animals suddenly appearing on the roadway. Asked what she regarded as the biggest challenge, Kristin von Trotta cites the enormous number of potholes, which can only be seen at the last minute very often, hidden under a layer of mud.
Es ist natürlich auch so, dass die Schlaglöcher sich meistens irgendwo noch im Schlamm irgendwo befinden, und da hat man dann schon mit dem Antrieb eindeutig Vorteile.
The four-wheel drive E-Class with a power distribution of 60 to 40 usually favors the rear axle on the road. It's real off-road driving as soon as there's a diversion. The roads are often okay, but in many cases they're still being built. So when you come to construction site, you have to make a detour. And that means stony ground or mud, and the off-road package is a big help. It took 26 days. All 33 vehicles mastered the Mammoth Tour and without significant defects. The entourage was celebrated and received in awe. The memories that remain with Kristin von Trotta at the end of the journey: no breakdowns, friendly Kazakhs, and a heartwarming finish.